Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, and today we got a few big updates on the future of the Boruto anime production that we're going to be going over. It's going to be ranging from discussion about a new TV anime to a discussion regarding a potential Boruto Naruto Next Generations movie. Again, big updates here. So if you're an anime-only fan of Boruto, you likely finished Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime episode 293 and you went, wait, what is this? What about Code? What about Ada? What about Damon? What about Boruto versus Kawaki? When does that happen? And you clearly realize that Boruto's anime, it pulled a Full Metal Alchemist 2003, where the original anime ended with an anime original ending because the manga at the time, it was still ongoing. The anime's last canonical coverage at the time was volume 7, but due to production issues as well as a lack of remaining source material, we got an anime original ending there and we got one for Boruto. So if you reach those conclusions, you are correct because the anime did end at chapter 68 of the manga source material, and there were another 12 chapters worth of material waiting to be adapted. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that we reported on both why the anime ended abruptly and then reported last year the update on the 4 special Naruto episodes that have been running 17 months behind schedule, as well as new information about Boruto's anime. So depending on if you're new to the channel or you're a longtime viewer of the channel, some of the information we're going to go over is going to be new to all of you, including long-term viewers, and to some of you, particularly the part breaking down how even for a weekly anime, Boruto had a terrible production schedule. That's going to be old news to long-term viewers. The too long didn't read of everything is basically there was a recent update directly from Studio Pierrot itself, the anime studio that animates Boruto, for the owner of the IP, Shueisha, and for the production committee that TV Tokyo, the broadcast company who airs series like Naruto, Boruto, Pokemon, Spy Family, Bleach, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Black Clover. In this update, we got a massive, in-depth behind-the-scenes look at the company, and we met with one of the Boruto directors, Masayuki Koda, as he was working on animation storyboards that were clearly for Boruto. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Masayuki Koda is one of several animators who worked on Boruto who got their start working on the Naruto anime. As the old folks like to say, they cut their teeth on the Naruto anime, with Koda working on iconic animation sequences from fights such as Sasuke versus Danzo to the Sakura and Chio versus Sasori 100 Puppets fight. Despite the nonsense that Boruto haters will tell you, the anime wasn't lacking for talent. It was not some overflowing breeding ground of new animators, no different than Naruto ever was, but we'll get to that in a moment. In the background, as he was speaking in the Naruto section, which was a rather large chunk of the whole episode, we saw Masayuki Koda with a stack of manga volumes and magazines for Boruto, in particular V-Jump magazine, with the particular May 2024 issue where Boruto's on the cover, which would have been from the April 2024 chapter, which is Jura attacking Team 10 and Himawari turning around to meet Kurama. This of course led to everyone online losing their minds that this was a sign that Boruto's anime was finally going to be going right back into production, and that's part of why we're doing the video. Back when Boruto Naruto Next Generations ended, there was a statement put out on the official Naruto website that when they announced the ending of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, it stated that the second part of the anime was already in the works, with the statement being, quote, "The anime Boruto Naruto Next Generations began in April of 2017. 6 years have passed since then, but episode 293, set to air on March 26 Japanese Standard Time, will mark the last episode of the first part of the series. But don't worry, the Naruto and Boruto saga is not over yet. Part 2 of the anime is already in the works," end quote. Since that statement was made, Boruto's anime team, which again, while there are new animators on that staff, which reminder, Naruto / Boruto's anime team, it is different from Bleach. It is different from Kingdom. It is different from Black Clover. Those series don't have the impact on Naruto Boruto that fans will tell you it does. Quite a few animators from some of your favorite Naruto fights were on Boruto. But since that statement was made in 2023, we've lost some big names. Nishio, one of the golden children from the Naruto animation team, has taken over as a director of Kaiju number 8, a very well animated series. Inakawa is one of the directors for Blue Lock. If I'm not mistaken, he is the animation director. While season 2 started out rough, the highs for season 2 were extremely high, like the last couple episodes of season 2. Shang-Chi Wong, a guy you'll remember for Naruto and Sasuke versus Fuse Momoshiki, Sakura versus Shin, Naruto and Sasuke, their final battle in the Naruto Shippuden anime. He started his own production studio, which did that mega animation for Black Myth Sun Wukong last summer. Though given the amount of Boruto art that he still draws on his own currently, he's pretty much a lock when you do get a Boruto anime return. Then you get the most famous name of them all. Hiroyuki Yamashita, who is currently on Bleach 1000 Year Blood War arc, is literally one of the best animators to ever work on the Naruto IP, and he also worked on Boruto. While Koda did have a recent Boruto material on his desk as he was drawing, I want to press pause a bit on a Boruto anime return, at least for Boruto Part 2 for one small moment, especially with the names I mentioned earlier being gone from the Naruto staff currently. Don't expect any announcement, say tomorrow or anything like that, saying this is the definitive release date for the anime for the following 2 reasons. Number 1, we still have not gotten the 4 special episodes for Naruto's 25th manga anniversary yet that Masashi Kishimoto personally wrote the story for, which were due back in October 2023, meaning that those episodes were in production as far back as spring 2023, since the average Naruto Shippuden episode done by Studio Pierrot took 3 months to complete. Second, after those episodes, which were due by the end of fiscal year 2025, according to the information we received last year and reported on, which the fiscal year ends March 31st of this year, and the new fiscal year starts April 1st, it's very likely there won't be a solid Boruto anime update until TV Tokyo does its annual investment call, where we learn the plans this upcoming fiscal year, which will end in March of 2026. Those Naruto episodes are likely coming before you get a Boruto episode. However, there is some room for optimism. I don't want to go all doom and gloom on you here. So if you're in tune with the anime industry, particularly the Shonen Jump side of the industry, so basically Shueisha, you know of the trend of anime movies, particularly for arcs like, say, Demon Slayer making a movie out of 2 very short manga arcs like Mugen Train and Hashira Training Arc, the former being 12 chapters, which is basically 6 Boruto chapters, and the latter being 9 chapters, which is just over 3 Boruto chapters, or the upcoming Chainsaw Man Bomb Devil movie, which is 13 chapters of the manga and would be just over 6 Boruto chapters, or Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0 was 4 long chapters, basically 5 Boruto chapters worth of material, and it even got a movie. You might be asking, hey, what do those things have in common with Boruto? Well, they all have the same person from Shonen Jump who was assigned to them that is now on Boruto. Akifumi Fujio, the lone exception in that group being Chainsaw Man, who had someone different assigned to it than Akifumi Fujio. Another property that you're probably aware of that he's involved with was Don to Don, but he's also part of the reason why we got the Spy Family movie and the My Hero Academia movies. Given this information, your smart money is on there being a movie to wrap up Boruto's remaining material for part 1. It's 12 chapters. Now, you might be going, wait, Naruto explained. So if Boruto, if one chapter is just over 2 chapters of a weekly manga, and all those other series only had at most 6 chapters worth of Boruto material, how can they do a movie here? Isn't that too much for an anime movie? And the answer is no. And if you've read the Omnipotence arc, you know why I'm saying this. When you go through the last 3 volumes of Boruto, there's enough material there that can be trimmed out, particularly parts that spoon feed information that you don't really need for an anime movie due to the medium itself. And before someone gets upset at me over that, ask yourself, especially if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, how many times have you heard me say, if you're an anime-only viewer of Naruto, in some of the lore videos, particularly the ones that don't cover light novel information, chances are you've heard me say it, or if you go through that Naruto playlist that has nearly 900 Naruto videos over the last 8 years worth of material, chances are you will have heard me say that multiple times. That's not me being some know-it-all, some smug know-it-all like some people have said. That's because when Studio Pierrot has animated Naruto, Naruto Shippuden, and even a series like Bleach, there are things that are outright cut that the manga had, as in it was never animated, but it's in the manga, or it combines it. So example, one character's dialogue is given to another character, or things are redone completely, entire scenes are changed, or you have all those things done and then the anime will add original stuff on top of it that was not in the manga, sometimes even contradicts the manga. And it's not just extended battle sequences that I'm referring to. It's not uncommon, and part of what would happen for that Boruto movie for that last 12 chapters is some stuff it would be trimmed out, because the Omnipotence arc isn't a super action-packed arc. It is a slow burner like the Search of Tsunade arc or the Tenchi Bridge arc from Naruto's manga. In every volume of the manga that's not been animated, so last 3, you have scenes that the anime can cut, which again isn't that uncommon, or trim it down to push out a movie that doesn't go past 2 hours. Basically, it would be the length of Demon Slayer Mugen Train, which was 1 hour and 57 minutes. Animation wise, your big blow up fights in that arc are Boruto versus Kawaki for the final battle of part 1 and Damon versus Code without limiters, both of which are really short. And even if you extend them, the only one that might get extended the way that Rengoku versus Akaza was, or Yuta versus Geto was in their extended movies, Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, that Kawaki versus Boruto fight's probably going to be one that gets extended, but it's not going to be as long as those fights I just mentioned because there's less material to work with for that. Smart money is on having that and having a teaser of 15-year-old Boruto at the end, which buys the manga more time to produce more material before you do another Boruto TV anime, because anything like that's not going to get announced unless it's at a super stage at Jump Festa. So literally Jump Festa 2026, which is December 2025. At the end of the day, I still think what I reported last year is the likely outcome. You don't get a Boruto anime on TV Tokyo stations until 2027 at the earliest, meaning with a healthy production schedule, it would go into production sometime in 2026. And that's if there's already work being started for the Boruto movie to wrap up the final 12 chapters of Boruto Part 1, meaning that that movie will be getting worked on right now. That's the reality of having a manga that is monthly, especially a manga where the production committee rushed out a series onto TV when there was barely any material to animate. There weren't even 12 chapters of Boruto before we got the first Boruto anime episode. You run into the issue that Attack on Titan did, where there was a 5-year wait between season 1 and season 2 because the manga was monthly. And it's the same issue that Boruto and Fullmetal Alchemist had, where the anime was so different from the manga in several key areas that you had an anime original ending, with Fullmetal Alchemist's first anime being so different, they just rebooted the entire thing without filler 4 years after the anime ended as a clusterfuck, and it made an even bigger cluster with an anime original movie to try and patch things up that just made it even worse. Boruto's not in that Fullmetal Alchemist range. Some of that I would say is large in part because they chose to animate Kishimoto's side manga, so like the Shin Uchiha arc and the Mitsuki one shot over Mitsuki's origin, though I would argue in totality is closer than some would like to say to Fullmetal Alchemist, given how the story does diverge even when it intersects and covers manga material. Boruto's anime, the best comparison would be how Dragon Ball Super handled itself. The anime and manga are two different things story-wise, even though they cover similar story arcs. But where we are is where Attack on Titan was after season 1. Not enough material to really animate, so it went on hiatus to average diverging from the intended story. Fullmetal Alchemist was a warning. Monthly manga have to be treated different as anime. That's why you don't have a Boruto Two Blue Vortex anime announcement for, say, fall 2025, because after you run through the first 14 or 15 chapters, you are right back where we currently are. Barely any material left in TV Tokyo, which is part of a production committee that funds Boruto, is going to want more material than just 14 or 15 episodes every 2.5 years, because on a healthy schedule, you'd have a year and a half of time to work on episodes. And God forbid you have another weekly anime, because you'd be right back where Boruto's first anime was. Chalk one up to seeing Dinky and Awabi build a spaceship and going to some remote island because they couldn't get into space. Or Chocho in an eating contest. Or Chocho on a diet so she can participate in a beauty contest. A nightmare schedule, even for a weekly anime. That's why we had arcs that had moments that you had good animation, like say some moments of the Funato Clan arc, and then the exact same arc, it had animation completely fall apart, including animators drawing stuff with broken wrists, and the Code arc, which completely fell apart, with Coda working a nightmare schedule that might have been the worst since 2015's Naruto Boruto the movie, which was a production nightmare schedule that put an anime in the hospital, which, if I'm not mistaken, it was the movie director Hiroyuki Yamashita who was the one in the hospital. It does not matter how much talent you have if the production committee gives you a bad schedule. It's not about budget. You can't just throw money at the problem and it goes away, which is what a lot of people ignorant to the industry will say. Boruto's anime paid more money to its animators than Toei pays animators for One Piece. So what Pierrot currently pays animators for Bleach's 1,000-Year Blood War arc, or MAPPA pays that for Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. But part of the reason for the higher pay is because of the insane schedule, which again, even for a weekly anime, it was a nightmare schedule. Basically, some of the animators I've talked to in DMs have said they gotten rushed payments for extra work that they do. Like freaking 50, 60 cuts in 7-8 hours. And then you look at some of the stuff that, like, say, Toei gives to some of the One Piece animators, they get weeks. It's more money, less time, higher pay. And too many production committees, not just the one that's over Boruto, are doing this with several series. It's like 230 new anime every year. For every well-animated series like Don to Don, you get quite a few that come out, and the production, the schedule is a nightmare. People breaking their backs to get you the content. Classic example, one of my favorite manga, Hell's Paradise. That first season of the anime was a mess to look at. For every good shot you got, there were a few that fell apart, especially with the compositing. For those of you guys who don't know, the short and sweet behind what a anime production committee is, it is basically the people who finance the anime. A shorter but more detailed answer to help you appreciate what's going on with Boruto and whatever your favorite anime is. An anime production committee is a group of companies that collaborate to fund and produce anime series, or in some cases, movies. This system minimizes financial risk by spreading the costs and the profits across multiple stakeholders. Each company, they contribute resources, whether financial, creative, or promotional, in exchange for a share of the revenue from the anime's various revenue streams, such as merchandise, toys, streaming, Blu-rays, video game, things of that nature. A typical production committee, it includes the animation studio, which is going to handle obviously the animation, so storyboarding, animating, directing, compositing, so like the pretty colors that you see on Bleach and the cotton candy colors of Demon Slayer, the pretty colors you see on my favorite series, Rurouni Kenshin, which right now is in the middle of adapting one of the most iconic arcs in not just that franchise, but in all of shonen in general, an absolute classic. The publisher, which in this case would be Shueisha, they own the IP itself. So that's your manga, your light novel. They push for the adaptation of the anime to produce the sales of the original source material, which is the manga or the light novel. You have the TV network / the streaming platforms. They're the ones who distribute the anime to audiences via TV broadcast, or like we've seen with some stuff, like with Netflix, they distribute that way. Some series that are on Netflix aren't airing on television. Then you have the music production companies. They're the ones who do the theme songs, the background music, the promotional soundtracks, the opening and ending credits. You have the toy and merchandise companies. They plan and produce the action figures, the posters, and all the other merchandise related to the anime. Then you got the advertising agencies. They promote the series, ensuring it reaches a wider audience. This collaboration ensures all members benefit from the anime's success while allowing them to influence its direction to align with their overall interests. It all comes down to the production committee, and pierrot in the recent episode that aired literally admitted publicly on film what they said as a part of their investor call that I reported on last year, which is that they are very much aware that now in 2025, they have to step up given the global reach of anime now. And that's why they've been doing a restructuring for the last couple of years, which is basically how we got Pierrot's films, which is literally a name change meant to signify their commitment to making better anime, meaning no more excuses in regards to the time it takes to produce content that is up to the standards of the fans now. Prettier art with Sakuga animation, which is why the 4 Naruto special episodes, they got scrapped and started over from the very beginning, because the episodes that as they were in fall of 2023 were not up to the quality that Pierrot has been putting out with their properties, like say Kingdom's last anime season or the currently running Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc anime that is in production now for I think season 4 with a lot of anime original material. Pierrot's basic standard now is let's make the art pretty, let's make the compositing pretty, decent animation, but let's try to have Sakuga in every episode if possible. The entire episode's not a Sakuga fest. Most of it is average animation when you look at the aforementioned products, but when it does Sakuga, it is top of the line Sakuga. It looks really, really nice. Hopefully that's going to clear up anything you might have seen in regards to Boruto anime. I skipped the normal Boruto upload for today because I saw a few TikToks and people gassing up posts. I've seen misinformation getting spread out, people taking this as an opportunity to dunk on Boruto and etc. I've seen people saying that the animes are turning earlier this year, and I wanted to hopefully get ahead of it. But legend has it, if you check the playlist on the channel every few days, you'll see videos that are being uploaded unlisted but not made public. However, none of that stuff in those playlists is a part of that rebrand that starts in April for the first 14 days each month. Because that content, if you want to watch it on YouTube, it's all private. Only I have access to it. Those videos are uploaded and privated here on YouTube, and then patrons have access to them because they're uploaded on Patreon behind the paywall. You guys won't see that stuff until April 1st through the 14th, and then May 1st through the 14th, and etc., etc. Which Patreon squad, they know that is hands down some of the best content I have ever made. Ever since starting YouTube, we are going into what is year 10 for me on YouTube with hands down some of the best content I have ever made. And that's a strong assertion, and I stand by it. The first 14 days each month from April starting onward, doing an experiment, and I really think you guys are gonna love the content. I know I've been gassing it up, and I'm gassing it up for a reason. Editors I've been working with on this have been absolutely cooking. And we're covering stuff that is clearing up some misconceptions on Naruto that's been on YouTube. And we're touching on stuff in ways that nobody's ever discussed on YouTube, even for topics already covered by other people. I went through and looked at some of it and I said, yo, you could have gone a whole hell of a lot deeper. And so I'm in my Thanos mode right now. I'm talking about trash. I'm going to do it myself. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content because the editors, they've been cooking. First 14 days every month, you about to feast. Only reason it ain't 30 days out the month is I need to test it out first before I make a commitment to spending tens of thousands of dollars a year on editing. Think better quality than the Two Blue Vortex chapter reviews, or bare minimum Two Blue Vortex chapter review every day for 14 days, that level editing. But anyway, people that wanted like the Boruto chapter discussion, etc., like, hey, what about this the new chapter, you didn't talk about this. What do you think about that? What do you think about this development here? What could happen with this? There's still more discussions on the current chapter, like going over some of the stuff I found for Array's Sword that we're going to close this month out, and likely the Itachi and Shisui video that will be published one day as a part of a double upload, because I want to test having a Naruto lore video with having a Boruto manga video being released at different times on the same day. So like one at 11 a.m. and another one at like 4 p.m. In the meantime, click here to watch this video from my Naruto Explained channel, or click here to watch this video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.